The Toby Gribben Show podcast.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Toby Gribben Show podcast. Don't forget you can listen to the full show live at shoutradio.org.uk and all of the clips right here on the podcast. Anyway, enjoy the interview.
From checking your passport is in date to getting the right travel insurance, there's a lot to think about before you go abroad these days. And that's before you even start packing. Luckily, you can find all the answers you need and put peace of mind top of your list at dfa.ie/travelwise. Plus, useful links to help get you there and keep you safe. An initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Leo Sayer is a singer-songwriter, musician and entertainer whose singing career has spanned 5 decades. With the world gradually emerging from a 2-year hiatus, Leo is celebrating this milestone to great effect, with a live performing schedule throughout 2022, along with a brand new album, Northern Songs. And he's with us here now, live from Australia. How are you doing today?
Very good, except we just had... You're actually very lucky because we just had a power cut.
Wow.
Because I live in the country between Sydney and Canberra, and like 2 hours drive out of Sydney, about 2 hours drive to Canberra. So right in the middle. And we're in an area called the Southern Highlands, which is kind of as tall as the Cairngorms. So it's like, quite high up. And when it's dark here, it's really dark. And this is winter now.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see me wearing layers here. It's getting colder and colder. But it was peculiar tonight. And all of a sudden, when I thought that they weren't going to put the power on until 11 p.m. my time, and it's now 7:30, we thought, oh, God, maybe I can't do this interview. But luckily, the power's just come on and everything's plugged in and ready to go. I had battery lights going and everything like this, and small little chargers like this, kind of going for the But we're lucky, that's it. Technology. We're all. We're all slaves to it now.
Yeah, for sure. Now, this new album, Northern Songs, the LP of it is going to be out next Friday, and it's sort of an album of Beatles songs, but with a twist, right?
Yeah, I just tried to Leo-fy them. In fact, I've got them. I'll go over there in a minute and reach out for one. I can show you. I've got the vinyl ones here because it's just literally just arrived here. They sent some to Australia, and it's a really nice package. We had to do it as a double because there's so many songs on it. It started off about 10 years ago. I was kind of fooling around in the studio, really learning how to do things for myself. And actually since then, there's been another album. Since that, initial time, there was an album called Selfie, which I made. But COVID made me turn back to this project because I'd already started it, and we recorded Eleanor Rigby, practically the first few songs. Girl, I think, Strawberry Fields Forever, and Norwegian Wood. So I recorded those 4 first, just trying out my studio, seeing if I could work it by myself. And very, very luckily at that time, a guy who'd been important in my life before, a mixing engineer, John Hudson, who used to run Mayfair Studios in London. His wife is Australian, he's English. And they decided to elope to Australia and move just like I've done. Yeah. And suddenly John turned up and I said, oh, hang on, have I got a project for you? So I gave him those 4 songs to mix, and he did a brilliant job because, although I can do all the recording myself, you still need that person to kind of finish it off and, just fine tune things. So he's been an important part of the project. But as I say, when COVID came along and, suddenly you can't do gigs. I mean, here we had massive problems in Australia. Where, basically the whole industry shut down because it's a big country, this, and you go state to state. And, we've got a change of government now, which is good news to us all. But honestly, the last government just left the states to make up their own mind about things. So, you'd go to, say, Perth, and there'd be different rules in Western Australia than there were to, And the other thing is, I was on an Irish tour starting off in 2019, and we couldn't complete it. So now we're able to complete it. We did the first few gigs, and now we're able to complete that. So COVID drove a hole into everything. And I thought, well, what can I do? Well, I've got the studio. Let's get on and let's refine it. And then the ideas started coming in. I think I recorded 29 Beatles songs, actually. Yeah. And I decided to do them in a very different way. So stylistically, they're quite adventurous. I mean, Ellen Rigby's got the beat of Billie Jean to it, for instance, and Can't Buy Me Love is slowed, which was Can't Buy Me Love, originally is slowed right down to an almost bluesy kind of thing. Norwegian Wood is very jazzy, and Nowhere Man is reggae. So, things really, I've tried to really change it up, and I thought I'd get a lot of problems doing it because I thought, God, everybody's going to complain like mad, but it's been very positive, the reaction, and also it felt like, because it's my 50th anniversary, I thought I'd like to do something different, to celebrate it. And, I've got another bunch of songs all lined up for a new album coming up soon. But at the same time, I thought, no, let's do something, different. Let's do something like special. And I've always loved the Beatles. So there it was,
And was there a particular song on the album that was your favourite to record?
I love them all, really. It's a bit like, when people ask me about my own hits and or songs, and it's very difficult to choose one because I'm a Gemini, you see. So I've got this chameleon-like brain that just switches from one thing to another. So I kind of enjoyed the fact that I could use different treatments for each song, do them. I mean, Hey Jude, for instance, is almost like a Bob Dylan song at the way it starts, like a typical like harmonica and acoustic guitar intro, and then grows into something. And I don't think I've got a favorite, actually. I mean, some songs have turned out even better than I thought they would. So they become highlights. Like, I mean, I'm really happy with my version of Strawberry Fields Forever because it kind of grooves along. And I really like A Day in the Life as well, was quite adventurous to kind of change that. But that worked out pretty good as well, So it's been a case of, I've been as surprised as anybody else has. And the funny thing is, while making it, I mean, I've played it to a few friends and friends of mine in the business here, and they've mostly been kind of, first they go, what's that? What? And they can't believe it. And a lot of people don't even recognize it's me at the start, but it's been very interesting. I've had people compelling me to put it out. So they said, you've got to finish this. Because as I say, it started just as an experiment. And I thought, well, I'm just making this for me, for a bit of fun, to learn to do the studio, to use the studio by myself. And it turned out to be more.
Yeah. And as well, you're heading out on a UK tour this autumn. What can we expect from the tour? Is it some of this album, maybe some new stuff, or the classics, or maybe even both?
Yeah, it's a bit of everything, really. I mean, we got to a point really about 2 years ago where we couldn't have a support band any longer because you can't fit all the songs in. There's so many songs, but diehard members of the audience and the real fans, if you don't do some of the hits, like, I mean, I'm having trouble fitting I Can't Stop Loving You into the show at the moment, and Have You Ever Been in Love? And I've got to find a way to shoehorn them in, because there's so many other stuff to do. I think we're going to rehearse up about 3 or 4 of the Beatles songs for it. And, I always used to do Let It Be on the show before anyway. So we'll have those, and I think we'll have to kind of, like, say we're playing in one place, say we're playing in Liverpool, we can put in song for Liverpool that won't be in the show for Manchester. So we'll have to kind of mess it around like that. It will be interesting. But it's a challenge to get everything in and have all the favorites in there. So as I say, it becomes like an almost 2-hour show every night.
And how excited are you to get back out on the road?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I did a little charity gig this weekend. We have a thing called Support Act out here. So I flew over to Adelaide, where there was a bunch of Australian acts on the bill as well, good friends, and a great band. And I was singing 4 songs on that. And oh boy, it was just so great to be working again. For all the time that I've been sitting here thinking, do I really want to go back to work? It's kind of comfortable here at home. I've got my studio. I could just quite honestly give it all up and just stay here. But coming back to it, as I say, this weekend was fantastic. Singing again was so great. And now I'm chafing at the bit. Can't wait to get back. I mean, the other side of that is I'm 74 now, so I have to kind of like conserve my energy quite a lot to do this job. But I feel that my energy is good, you know, and I feel that I can still do it for a few years.
Yeah.
You know, and there's still ideas, as I say, coming, you know, creatively. It feels like, yeah, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely. And what are some of your favourite venues to play at?
You know, I love Birmingham Town Hall. That's a really goodie. You know, it's just fantastic to play. I think we're playing in the Edinburgh Bridgewater Hall, which sounds great.
Yeah.
I've never been there. I don't know, really. I mean, you know, I hanker back for the days when we used to play Hammersmith Odeon, now the Apollo, of course. And I still remember playing really, really big gigs. And I'm dying to do that again. I mean, give me a few festivals and I shine, you know. So I'm ready for Glastonbury. I really am. And I could have killed it at that Queen's Jubilee show. I know it would have been great. I could just see how I could use all those stages. I mean, I think Rod Stewart did a pretty admirable job, but, you know, I could see how I could make it my place, you know.
Yeah, that's what it was missing. A bit of Leo Sayer.
That's what, it missed a bit. Me and maybe Cliff as well. I noticed that. Why didn't they put Cliff on there, you know?
Yeah,
Come on.
He was at the pageant, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, oh, okay, he was there, so that's good.
In some way, yeah. Have your fans changed much over the years, aside from getting older? I mean, are younger people coming?
They are. It's a very good question. It's been peculiar to see, but over the last, I'd say 5 or 6 years, the audiences have been getting, you know, look, there's still the older people who are diehard fans and people our generation, of course, my generation, that, you know, obviously want to celebrate and see the music that they came into the world with, you know, the early songs that made their teenage years. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But the thing is, it's handing down, interestingly, to younger people. And I think it's probably because, you know, the Stones, Billy Joel, Bruce Springsteen, Paul McCartney, of course, Elton John, they're still out there, Queen, they're still out there working. Yeah. And I think that the younger audiences are kind of getting hip to it, you know, and thinking, hang on, these old devils, they really can play, you know. Like, I mean, you'd see Nile Rodgers up there playing guitar, and I mean, he's the king of the disco era, and nobody plays guitar like Nile. So none of the younger guitarists can do what he does. So that's what you see, and I think that's what excites young people. The energy is still from us guys. And although, you know, most of, like, The Who used to write, hope I die before I get old. Yeah. You know, we all thought that music was only a young man's game, but we're finding out now that the old fellas can cut it as well. So, you know, I'm probably biased towards that thing, but but it's true. It's true. You don't lose it. You know, you as long as you got the energy and the good enough health to compete, then we do compete. You know. Yeah,
and you often come across on stage as if you have a lot of energy and you're having a great time. Is there a secret behind that, or do you just love what you do?
I think I love what I do. I mean, I just wake up, you know, when the opportunity's there. It's quite fantastic. It's like, you know, you get on stage and you're home, and that's it. I mean, I'm writing my book at the minute, and the last chapter, I'm getting close to the last chapter now, and the last chapter will be that, you know, I'm going to set it to just before I go on stage on this British tour.
Wow.
So I'm just about to walk on stage, and the feeling is, you know, that, wow, this is what I do. This is how I describe myself. Because I've got friends who I know socially who don't know what I do. You know, you meet them, and also because of COVID, we've not had much of a chance to prove it, you know. So they say, oh, I'd love to come and see one of your shows. And then they come along and they go, oh my God, that's what you do. Yeah. And it all comes together, you know. Suddenly that's your point of existence, you know, that's your reason for existence. And it's very powerful. And I tend to just walk on there and find myself, you know. That's the real answer. I don't prep too much for it. I don't get nervous. I just kind of find myself at the venue. We check it all out, do the sound check out where the areas are, you know, get confident with the room.
From checking your passport is in date to getting the right travel insurance, there's a lot to think about before you go abroad these days. And that's before you even start packing. Luckily, you can find all the answers you need and put peace of mind top of your list at dfa.ie/travelwise. Plus, useful links to help get you there and keep you safe. An initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Acast recommends podcasts we love.
Hey, I'm Zach.
And my name is Rivka.
and we are the hosts of Bedtime with Wikipedia. Together with Wikipedia, we'll help you fall asleep. We'll read articles to you out loud so you can focus on relaxing and drifting off into the world of sweet dreams. Bedtime with Wikipedia. New episodes twice a week, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Acast is home to the world's best podcasts, including the Blind Boy podcast, Ready to Be Real with Sheila Shoiga, and the one you're listening to right now.
The sound of the room, the look of the room, and then it's all up for grabs when you walk on stage, and it's beautiful because you build something, and maybe you build in a little bit of trade as well, where the audience feel like they're on stage by the time you've finished, and you feel like you're in the audience. So it's that lovely exchange, it's a fantastic conversation that goes on.
Yeah, and let's have a look at a few locations here. It starts in Chatham on the 22nd of September, then Worthing, London, Milton Keynes, Guildford, Scunthorpe, Whitley Bay, York, Holmfirth, Buxton, Bradford, Perth, Edinburgh, Aberdeen, Newark, Eastleigh, Basingstoke, Shanklin, Southend-on-Sea, Bury St Edmunds, Wimborne, Yeovil, Weston-super-Mare, Manchester, Shrewsbury, Swindon, Glasgow and Liverpool.
I don't think we miss anything out. I think that's basically everywhere, isn't it?
There's no excuse not to come.
I don't think so. I mean, there's already, look, there's always people who write on Facebook, why aren't you coming to, why aren't you coming to Portsmouth? Well, Southampton's just down the road, and I would have loved to have played Brighton, because basically even more than Worthing, because I come from Sussex, originally, Shoreham-by-Sea, a town in between those two cities. And I would have loved to have played Brighton, but there's no venues apparently, there, so that are perfect. So we end up playing Worthing yet again. So there's always a bit of compromise with venues. That's what I'm trying to say. You end up with a few places that you go, oh no, not that one again. I would have liked to have played, but that's life, you just get it. It happens, and I think that over the last few years, the British tours that I've done, we have managed to kind of like play everywhere, It's fun to know that we're going to Aberdeen this time, and it's nice to, we haven't been able to announce it yet, hush, hush, but the first gig actually won't be Chatham. The first gig will be in Truro, but they won't let us announce it yet. They've got some funny rule that it has to be announced in a month's time or so. So anyway, tip off to the listeners, you can see us there, the viewers. And just before that, I'm doing the rest of this Irish tour that was postponed as well. So we've got like 4 or 5 dates in Ireland, which will be great. So Belfast and Cork and Dublin included.
Yeah. Are you doing one date in Belgium as well, kind of in between?
We are, we're doing a weird one in Ostend that a promoter has kind of offered to us, and one in Spain as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're going to Spain. So I think it's in Marbella or somewhere like that for all the expats. I've been out there before, and that's a lot of fun because these people come out of the woodwork and they know all your songs. They sing along. It's just great,
And you can probably tell that I want to ask you
got the Muppets
about
up there,
a particular highlight in your career back in 1978. What was it like to be on the Muppet Show?
Well, I'd worked on Sesame Street originally, which was the godfather of the Muppets, and Jim Henson, used to do that, and he and his mate were the voices of Bert and Ernie and all those people, and Grover and Kermit the Frog, of course. And so I'd worked with Jim before, and I knew the whole kind of concept, and I loved the concept. That was when I was in America, and I walked into their studio in Philadelphia, and they said, "Right, you're on." That was it. I was just included in a show straight off. Only I was just visiting as a fan, and that's what it became. So when they moved to London and started doing the Muppets with Lord Grade at ATV Studios with this, everybody thought, is this going to work or not? I already knew them. So, I mean, I was down there from day one, and they were trying to put me on the show immediately. I don't think I made the first series because they wanted some bigger names, and that's cool, But I was around there watching in the background while Julie Andrews and people like Vincent Price were on, and you might have even seen me in the back dressed as a Muppet or something with the hair, But we eventually, got round to doing it. And then I did a Julie Andrews show with them for American TV. And that was funny. Julie Andrews and the Muppets and me. And then I think we did a few other things. I was on the Johnny Carson show, duetting with Miss Piggy when Kermit the Frog was hosting. So, we had a kind of, with Jim, who I miss very much. I mean, we used to drive around in his Kermit green coloured Lotus Elan, which was really good fun. But I miss Jim, and I knew them very well. They were part of my family as well.
Yeah. And is it true that you were the last person to speak to Elvis?
It is. It is something that I didn't believe myself when it actually happened, because I'd fallen off stage. This was 1977, and I fell a humongous fall, about 25 feet onto concrete. And I was very, very lucky that I didn't break any bones, but I got a bit of delayed shock. And I kept having to go to hospitals, look, it had made headline news, the fall. So naturally the audience more audience came to the shows, and the tour had to go on, who wrote that song. And so I had to keep doing this tour, because the business is going like crazy. But we got as far as Memphis, and I locked up in the dressing room, and I was in a ball and I couldn't get out of it. And they found a guy there who was an ex-American football player. And, those guys they do all their training themselves. If one of them gets a head locked or something like that, they treat themselves, So this guy had become a really good trainer, physical trainer, And he took me under his wing. He came backstage, found me, and said, I know what to do with him. And he took me away to his little place in Huntsville, which is about 80 miles away from Memphis. And we started working on me. And I said, what are you doing here? And he said, well, I work for a big guy in town, and I can't tell you who it is, sworn to secrecy. And then I had one more day to go there with him, and before he was going to put me on the plane back to LA, completely cured, fixed, and great therapy sessions. I was really back to absolute normal. And so I would carry on the tour when we got back to LA and all that sort of stuff. But he said to me, look, I've got a phone call for you. And he put me on the phone onto me. And it was in the evening, and I had got this voice on the other end of the phone. This is Elvis Aaron Presley, and you make me feel like dancing. I'm going, what? It was, and I looked over at Michael, this guy, and he just nodded his head. Yeah, that's my boss. And I went, oh my God, Elvis. I said, do you realize how much a big fan? He said, well, do you know what a fan I am of you? I've been playing your records all week, and it's just great. You're making me so happy, and I love the songs. And Michael says, you're a great guy. I said, look, I'm going to ask you. He said, you don't have to be working yet. I've seen your schedule. And he said, would you like to come and hang out with me for a week? He said, maybe we can make some music. Maybe we can just hang out, talk. And he said, share some time together. He said, I'd be honored. What do you think? And I said, try and stop me, So here's the thing. The next morning, I had this radio cassette machine, which was a radio cassette recorder in those days. It was a Sony, and it was ahead of its time, And I used to record the radio, listening to gospel and country and blues radio as you got it in the deep South down there. I've got all these tapes still today, the cassettes that I recorded. And that morning I was recording something on the radio while I was waiting for Michael to get all the stuff together. I'd packed my suitcase really early, and we were ready to go to Graceland, and we would nobody would know. The press wouldn't know. Nobody would know. We'd just sneak in there, and I'd spend a week with Elvis. It was fantastic, But then as I was listening to the radio, clicking the dial, got to the news, and they said the singer Elvis Presley has been brought dead on arrival to Memphis Baptist State Hospital. And I've still got that recording. Michael rushes into the room because he was listening to the radio from the kitchen. And he says, oh my God, I've got to be back with the family. He's making a phone call. He's got to go. He's got to go to Graceland. He throws me the keys, lock up, and leaves them, in the flatbed of the truck outside, or somewhere. and just get a cab to the airport. And that's what I did. And for years, I couldn't tell that story because nobody would bloody believe you, would they?
No.
I'm the last person to talk. Why would Elvis want to speak to Leo Sayer, And his fans are so kind of diehard. They protect him, and I thought, I'm going to get hell for this. And so I didn't tell anybody. I just a couple of people close to me, and I almost didn't believe it. But then a few years later, the producer, David Foster, who produced Celine Dion and all these amazing records, he came over to London with his girlfriend and requested to meet me. And I thought, well, this is nice. I mean, maybe he wants to produce me, So yeah, I'll go with that. But I went to dinner with David, and with him was Ginger Aldrin, who was Elvis's girlfriend at that final time when they were when he died. She was the one who went to the bathroom and discovered him dead, and she hated planes. She hated flying. But she said, I had to come over with David to tell you how excited Elvis was to meet you. I've been holding this up for years, she said, and I'm stupid. I should have let you know earlier, but I'm telling you now. And I took this opportunity because David was coming to London for a meeting. I thought I'd join him because maybe we could find Leo, and David's publisher, of course, knew me. So there we were. And she told me the whole story. And she said, Elvis, the last words that Elvis spoke as he went to bed were, I'm seeing Leo tomorrow. So I mean, my God. So then I could tell the story, and I think I went on Lorraine TV and told the story, and there were still like 500 or so Elvis fans who said, no, he's lying, made it up. So, I mean, what can you do,
Yeah.
But he was incredible on the phone, amazing. And I know that we really would have hit it off great. Yeah. Who knows? There might have been a Leo and Elvis album. Yeah. My life might have changed at that moment. We maybe have gone on tour together. Who knows?
Yeah. It's strange that some of the fans didn't want to accept that. It's not as if it's defamatory.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I think obviously there are people think that there's a sort of class structure sometimes in music. If Bruce Springsteen had gone down there, that would be okay. But who's Leo Sayer? So that's okay. I mean, a few things like that have happened in my life. I mean, I'm still waiting for an Ivor Novello award with all the songs. I'm not being humble here. I'm just saying that I think that I deserve those things with all the hits and everything. But things don't necessarily happen. I'm waiting for Glastonbury to invite me. It'll happen, I'm sure. I don't think my career's over yet. So sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and go with things. But it was definitely an amazing thing and just a complete weird circumstance that brought me to talking to Elvis.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else coming up for you after this album and tour? I suppose you've got your book coming out at some point, right?
Yeah, I'm very close to the end, and I think will be published kind of early to mid next year. So that will be Just a Boy, written by Gerard Sayer, who is like, my real name, because he's the only one who could keep tabs on what the crazy guy was doing, Leo. So I decided to do it like that, and it's. I think the book has been. I'm very proud of it so far. It's been great. I've been whittling away for the last 5 or 6 years on it, but it's going to be a goodie. And hopefully, I mean, if everything goes well, there could be TV rights with that, or, maybe a movie. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because the funny thing is, although I'm 74, I feel like some of my best years are still ahead of me, and I'm going back to America next year to tour. So that will be another nice moment, which I've not been able to succeed in going there for ages, but now that's opening up for me again, and it feels like the sky's the limit at the moment. It's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, many thanks for joining us today. It's been great to have you on the show.
Great to be on Shout. Thank you very much, mate.
From checking your passport is in date to getting the right travel insurance, there's a lot to think about before you go abroad these days. And that's before you even start packing. Luckily, you can find all the answers you need and put peace of mind top of your list at dfa.ie/travelwise. Plus, useful links to help get you there and keep you safe. An initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Oh, yeah. Hey! Show.